What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to jump in with some more Marvel Future Fight content and take a look at Echo. So this is not like a first impressions video, because I guess it's like good, the bad, the ugly, and you guys probably saw it coming. I think most players were not excited about this uniform, and I don't think there's much to be excited about. So the good thing is, I guess the good of the uniform probably lies in the fact that she's getting attention at all. You know, let's put it this way. I don't think that there was a lot of fandom centered around Maya Lopez's Echo character. I think realistically, if they wanted to introduce her Phoenix Force uniform, that would have probably been the better place to stick and land it. But it seems like, you know, we ended up having 3 iterations of Echo. We got her previous uniform with the Marvel Studios Hawkeye, and then we got the one from her series. Now, I am not indigenous, so I do not know how to comment on her garment in terms of whether it's, you know, appropriate or whether it's, you know, what it looks. What I can tell you about the uniform is that there's a lot of lack of texture. Like I pointed this out before when we looked at like Sabretooth's uniform, we looked at Thanos's uniform, that there seemed to be more appealing to the eye instead of just 2D flat look to the uniform. Here is just emblematic of like some of the laziness that it can happen with the uniform overall. Like if you look at if you look at Echo stitching and things like that, that really should make the uniform pop in terms of like, you know, like if you've ever seen like some indigenous garbs and stuff like that, the thing that really looks so intricate is like the stitching and the stitch work that happens on those things, and like even like some of the depth that would happen on something like these leather cuirasses or whatever you call these, the gauntlets. It's just missing. It's the depth just not there. Like this red stitching would have just popped really well, but here we don't have that. We have a very flat looking uniform. It's even more so when you can see like the back that's happening over here, and you can see the stitching that happens across. Everything there just looks so flat and just, it doesn't even look layered on, you know what I mean? Like it just looks like it's all just one painted pattern. And I mean, overall, I think the aesthetic is nice. I just think the level of detail that is needed to be put into this maybe can't necessarily be replicated in this game, although I hesitate to say that because we've seen them do it in other uniforms. It's just not there. I do like the detail on her hair braid. It's really nice and intricate, especially with some of the woven in threads there. It looks really good. And then her leg, I would say like it definitely looks like carbon fiber legging. And then you get the gold prosthetic pieces as well. It looks good. It looks good, but like there's just too many features on this uniform that stand out for me. That just like says, hey, there wasn't a whole lot of effort put in, whether you're looking at the tie-ups, the wraps around her boots, or the wraps around her hand leading into there. It just looks very flat. Now, I guess the good piece is that it's 50% off, so you can go in there, you can purchase it if you want to. I would suggest that if you are a free-to-play player, this uniform is probably a easy skip. The same way I said about Ebony Maw's uniform, it's probably an easy skip. Like that's just truth for the matter. I think her and Ebony Maw got essentially treated the same exact way inside of here. Now, what I want to point out to you too is if you already purchased the Marvel Studios Hawkeye uniform, yeah, like the same thing they did to Ebony Maw is the same thing they did to her. Like there's not a whole wealth of difference between these uniforms. Like, hey, that back alley queen, you can get that from the previous uniform, so no need to have that. That Vengeance Begin, you can get that from the previous uniform. You know, like the only big thing here is like when you go inside the uniform effect and you look at it, they've got a little bit of a change inside of there. So you can see like it's an excluding from bosses, ignores enemies damage decrease by 30%. That's not on the previous uniform. So that's the biggest difference, but like that applies to herself and it's excluding bosses. So that's saying that you're going to use her inside PvP. And I don't know that you'll see her in PvP. I really don't. That's just my truth of my opinion. Now, could she end up becoming like a good, you know, leadership type character for leadership support type character for Black Swan and tier 4 content? Yeah, she's given a nice speed allies boost there. So there are potential speed type characters that you could conceivably use. I just think that that's where it ends for the character. And I think the reason why I get in here is like, now we get into some of the bad, right? And that gets down to when you just look at the skills and the way her kit is built. So let's take a look at the skills overall. First skill, not a whole lot happening here. Second skill, this is the same as before. The only thing that you notice that they added from her previous Hawkeye uniform is that they've added the color difference in terms of the trail that's happening. Third skill is her accumulation skill inside there. This is just harkening back to like 2018, like Marvel Future Fight. There's no impact of these skills. Look at the fourth skill when she lands. I have seen way more thunderous, earth-shattering stuff happen on a screen than what she's presenting here. Her fifth skill is perhaps the worst of the skills. It's like call out to like almost like, Ghost Rider, but it gets so much worse. And you can see it when we basically go inside of the practice combo. So their Envision combo is a 5-2-3-4 combination. That means that you have to go 5. You can't immediately cancel out it. If you just notice, you lose the stuff. So you essentially have to let the entirety of this skill play out before you can roll on to the actual combination. It's a bit, right? So let's go back to that and let's look at how long it takes. There's like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, almost 3 Mississippis before you can actually let go of that skill. Here goes the other problem. That's not going to be very proc friendly. It just isn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way in Sam Hell that is going to be very proc friendly inside of a rotation where we're looking at 5 into 2 into 3 into 4. And here goes the other problem as well. Is her damage is accumulating from her 7 or tier 4 skill for every skill that you use outside of the the regular attacks. So the 30, the 60, and then the 90, and then the accumulation starts, and then you roll into the 4 skill. So you would expect like a stacking of damage between these skills, but these aren't hard-hitting skills. So like you can see the amount of time that's happening there. You're gonna end up with 50 something, hits on the whole combination. But watch this. So we go 5, I let that whole thing play out, then I go into 3, and that's where you're at. So like for that whole combination there, I'm basically getting 40 hits where I'm getting that max 90% inside there for that 8 seconds or whatever, and then the accumulation begins and I roll into my 4. Even differently though, like if I use the 7 into 6 and then into 5, and then it ends on the 2, and then the accumulation starts on the 3 and the 4. So I'm hoping to keep damage up throughout the whole entire thing, but it just isn't reflective there. So you're basically trying to figure out ways to work around the 5, so that way you can going 3, 5, 2, and then 4 maybe, because I get the accumulation going, and then I can go into 5, then I can go into 2, then I go 4, and then I can go 1. Like you're just working around an unproc friendly character. Now here goes the problem that I have with this in terms of the kit overall, is that this becomes problematic for your casual player because Maya Lopez is not necessarily a fandom type character. Like there's not a fandom around this character. She's relatively new in terms of like the Marvel, cinematic universe, 100%, and she's relatively new in terms of Marvel comics. So there's not a whole lot of fandom around the character for you to just be enthralled about. It gets worse when you kind of look at the character kit on a whole and you go, compare her and stack her to like a Doctor Strange who also has a weird and wonky rotation, but there's a fandom built around that character, so they're likely to invest the time into learning the character. If I see Maya Lopez and I see a casual player jump inside like Giant Boss Raid, my assumption is automatically going to be that the character's not going to be able to put out the optimal amount of power that it should be putting, because that player more than likely does not know how to control that character and handle the delay cancels and the cancels or the skill rotations as they should to basically optimize the damage on a character like Maya Lopez, let alone build the kit appropriately with the proper CTPs and so forth, so that way you can go in there, because they're going to probably be missing their procs all the time if they don't have like a CTP of Rage or something. So she becomes problematic from that perspective. It only stacks up in terms of like, I don't think there's anything necessarily ugly about it, right? It just becomes a uniform that is so unneeded that it's hard to suggest purchasing it. There is no redeeming value for the uniform and saying, hey, I could potentially T4 Echo and have her old Hawkeye uniform and not need this uniform, because the changes are so insignificant between those two uniforms, even in the way that some of the skills present. Like if you go back to, excuse me, if you were to go back and take a look at her old uniform inside here, and we were to equip these, and you go and take a look at the skill previews on these, it ain't so much difference. Like she does uppercuts instead, so she's Ken and Ryu, right? Like 2. We've got the 3 inside here, right? We got the 4, we got the 5. It's like there's not a whole lot of difference happening inside the skills. So you could conceivably just stick with the Marvel Studios Hawkeye uniform if that's the one you have, and then just roll with that. Like that's my impression, or my, you know, like, I don't know, guys. It, like, I'm trying to find some positivity about it. And the only positivity is I'm glad she's gotten the recognition for it. It wasn't a bad series. I actually liked the series. I love the actress who plays the character. I thought she's very beautiful. I thought she presented the character in a very good way. Especially when she was in the Hawkeye series. It was a really good character. I just don't think that there's much left in there. Now, it only gets worse, and the ugly part for me is her uniform options. Now, I can tell you right now, I have not upgraded her, and I do not intend to upgrade these uniform options. She starts off with Groot, Marvel Studios Guardians of the Galaxy, and then that's where it just gets progressively worse. She's like a 4 out of 5 and bad in terms of uniform options. You get Magneto White, you get Thanos Obsidian King, not the one that we have now, but the one 2 uniforms behind, which makes it a totally invalidated uniform, and a very expensive uniform at that, for a character who there's no reason. She's got plenty of bad uniform options, basically, that makes it even worse. Do you have a reason to increase the uniform options? I don't think so. Now, if you are looking to get to get this, you do have a way, because they have introduced the 9-year anniversary packs inside the shop. So you get the 9-year anniversary Eve packs. You can see here, they're on sale for the next 4-5 days. And then you basically can look at these. These aren't bad, right? Especially the first one right here for $9.99, and you're getting 1,000 crystal for it. So one for one, and you're getting the premium crystal, premium character selector for free. So any of the premium characters inside here, you can essentially just get them. So if you want to level up Echo and you want to kind of bypass the 30 biometrics daily, then you can come in here and you can purchase this premium pack and basically get probably, I think it was like 256 or whatever bios from here. Now you can only limit this to 1, so you only get those or whatever, but this is not a bad purchase, to be honest. And you're gonna get the 9-year anniversary ticket, whatever, you know, the bonus points and stuff like that. Then we've got the special item ones over here, which is really good, because you can see here we're getting a tier 4 selector. That's not bad at all, and it's going to be a really good list of tier 4 selectors. And then right next to it, while this is loading, for some reason Marvel Future Fight is having problems with on BlueStacks. So if you have all of these the characters basically listed, and there's some pretty decent artifacts inside here, from, you know, Deadpool, Gwenpool to you know, Adam Warlock, Silver Surfer's in here. They've got a pretty good listing of characters basically inside here for you to basically select a character from, and then you have the potential to basically get an additional 4-star artifact from here. So you're getting these essentially for free, because it's $19.99, 2,000 crystals inside there. So I don't think that it's a bad deal at all inside there. I actually intend probably to purchase these two. Now, where you feel on the third one is where it's going to be the difference, because it's 2,000 crystals for $29.99. I don't evaluate the Mega Tier 3 advancement ticket the same way I think a new player would. This has less value for me, especially because we're at the age of Tier 4 content, exclusive Tier 4 content, and Tier 4 characters matter more than Tier 3. But if there's a character that you really like, that you need to skip to the line so that way you can spend less resources on and get them to Tier 4, this has some benefit for you if you're looking at that. So maybe the $10 value is there. But the first two, definitely very good purchases to basically pick up. And you'll notice that a lot of the items in the shop are basically starting to hold the 9-year anniversary tokens inside of there, which is not bad at all. There's also the presence of the mini shop. The mini shop has made a return, and there's some good events overall inside of here. So let's take a look at those. So you can see like the 99-cent sales basically inside here. And basically, like, these are good options. 99 cents for 300 energies, not a bad deal. 99 cents for 200 boost points is not a bad deal. You can look at most of these 99-cent options to include more X genes. These are not bad deals, and they've included tier 3 and tier 4 materials. Like, so for instance, the Souls of the Faultine is the easiest one to point out. You go and play Giant Boss Raid, you collect 165 tokens. This is essentially 3/4 of those tokens, which basically nets you probably a day and a half maybe of, you know, grinding basically for you know, Souls of the Faultines for $3. Is this bad? No, I don't think so. And it's limits 2 per purchase. So basically, like, hey, I can purchase 110 of these and 2 of these for $6, and basically that saves me, like I said, a day and a half maybe of grind time inside there, or accelerates my venture into those. So these are good items overall in the shop. It's just hard to suggest to players that you really go in and you look at Maya Lopez and you're like, yeah, I really need to have this character as part of my collection kit, and that she's gonna have some intrinsic value there. I mean, I hate to say this, but I pointed it out yesterday with you guys that if you even compared her to the characters in her ilk, she doesn't have much water in standing. I suspect that we're probably going to get something for Gwenpool inside of July with the Deadpool update, and then even still, you have Yelena Belova, who's going to make the appearance in the Thunderbolts and probably has something. We know they still have something for Black Panther 3. It might be a long ways down the road, but we're probably going to get a Shuri update inside there. And then you're basically stacking her up and comparing her to the litany of characters that currently sit at the top inside tier 4: Gamora, Luna Snow, Spider-Gwen, and I just don't think that she's going to encompass them, especially from her showing at level 70. So far at level 70, you know, like, if I had to tell you, this is a non-investment, don't even bother. It's looking like you're going to have to get her to level 80, if not T4 her, to see the value of this new upgrade, this uniform. And I think that's a risky bet to hedge, to say, like, this is the type, I need this speed type character, when she's going to be outshot in the PvP landscape. And I think that she's going to be outshot even inside of the PvE landscape, especially as players are geared towards Black Swan and grinding her. And Black Swan is a speed type tier 3. I'm looking for combat, universal, and blast type. Maybe not blast type, because I had to, but at least blast and combat type characters to basically do that, you know, so that way I can get a competitive advantage. So just kind of weird to basically suggest. I highly suggest you guys skip it at the very minimum. You know, if you just buy the uniform just so that way you can increase your Barbie collector, then cool. But I would hold off on tier 4ing this character, especially, hopefully we're going to get Sentry with the 9-year anniversary update, or you know, a character that's going to really require some of your materials basically to tier 4. But yeah, I hate to say it. Really like the kit. I think the face looks great on the character as well. But hard pass for me for the month. I purchased it because, hey, gotta make that content for you guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment in the section below. Do you agree with my opinion? Don't you? Are you excited about Maya? Like, how many fans really do we believe exist for these? Until next time, guys. Peace.